This person is finally ashamed of what he did to you, Archangel Michael says. Heaven has turned a stern page over a story written in your tears. The same hands that pushed you down now tremble because truth stands upright. Today is the day shame walks back to its maker and asks for forgiveness. You carried storms that did not have your name on them. You walked through rooms where whispers tried to erase your light. Now the wind has changed, and the one who stirred it feels its cold edge. There was a time your mornings felt heavy like metal chains. You did not fall, you learned to move with iron strength. Those who mocked your pace now realize you were marching toward freedom. He once thought your silence was a small thing he could pocket. He mistook your soft voice for weakness and your patience for surrender. He forgot that quiet souls keep records more accurate than thunder. You endured nights that scar the sky. You counted the minutes while others counted your mistakes. You learned the sacred art of not breaking even when the world tried to fold you. His laughter sounded loud when the crowd was close. Behind closed doors, the echo returned empty and cold. That emptiness is the first seed of his shame, and it has already sprouted. You were told to be smaller, softer, simpler. You chose to be steady, truthful, luminous. Your steady light has revealed every hidden corner he hoped would stay dark. He played with your heart like a game he assumed he owned. He used your trust like a ladder and then kicked it aside. Now he sees there is no way back down without facing the ground he cracked. You never needed revenge because time has a perfect memory. You never needed rumors because truth speaks fluently without a crowd. In the court of consequence, his name is the first to answer. He counts what he lost and the numbers will not stop growing. He sees the doors you walk through and knows he will never be invited. He hears your name and feels the sting of the mirror he tried to hide. You gave without keeping score. You loved without a receipt to return to the store. That generosity is the crown now resting on your healed head. He called you fragile, but fragile things do not survive fires. You walked out of flames with a wiser smile and unburned hope. The ash he left behind is the ink you use to write new beginnings. People who once doubted now lean closer to listen. They speak softly when they talk about your resilience. Your growth is the testimony that resets every conversation. He believed that apologies would be optional. He believed that time would erase your memory while polishing his image. Time chose your side because time honors the one who kept faith. Your spirit learned the difference between pity and compassion. You released what was never yours to carry. Compassion stayed with you, pity left to find a new stage. He rehearses excuses that no longer make sense even to his own ears. He rewrites sentences and still trips over the truth. Shame is the teacher he never wanted and now cannot dismiss. You no longer walk a path that bends to please him. You walk straight, with shoulders level and a horizon of your own. The world adjusts its map when a brave soul keeps moving. He tried to paint your story with colors that did not belong. You washed the canvas with courage and began again. Your new palette shines, and the brightness exposes his stains. There is a calm that follows storms when the air becomes honest. You live inside that calm now, and it fits you like a promise. Peace is your daily garment, woven from truth and endurance. He remembers the smallest kindness you offered on ordinary days. He remembers the way you chose dignity when anger would have been easy. Those memories return like letters stamped with reality. You do not need his confession to validate your healing. You do not need his approval to step into your future. Your worth does not shrink or expand for anyone's comfort. He faces a hallway of choices where every door requires honesty. He cannot move without meeting the eyes of his actions. In those eyes, he finally sees the person he tried to hide. Your boundaries stand like clean white lines on a quiet road. They are not walls, they are directions for respect. Those who cannot read them are not licensed for your journey. He once fed on the attention that followed your pain. Attention has turned away, choosing to follow your recovery instead. Your progress became the headline that everyone trusts. You decorate your days with gentle routines that respect your heart. You choose words that land softly but stand strongly. Your life has become a sanctuary where truth feels at home. He wants to be remembered as better than he behaved. He wants your story to leave space where his name can rest. Memory has its own ethics and will not return what it no longer owes. You walk into rooms and the floor remembers your courage. You sit in silence and the air hums with gratitude. You rest and the night keeps watch because you spent too many hours awake. He now understands that every shortcut was a circle back to the lesson. He now understands that your patience was not permission. He now understands that dignity has a cost he never paid. You do not celebrate his shame because that is not your spirit. You celebrate your freedom because that is your birthright. You celebrate the sunrise because you survived the longest midnight. He hears the laughter that belongs to your new company. He sees the glow that belongs to your new work. He knows he is a page you turned and will not reopen. You keep your hands open to receive what is honest. You keep your feet moving toward places that speak your true name. You keep your heart protected by wisdom rather than fear. He stands at the edge of a mirror and cannot look away. He stands at the edge of regret and cannot step forward. He stands at the edge of truth and finally bows his head. You do not need to witness his apology to be complete. Completion is the quiet you earned by staying faithful to yourself. Completion is the way your breath no longer races to catch up with your past. He sends signals disguised as casual messages, but you read the code. You see the pattern and choose not to re-enter the maze. You honor the lesson and keep the door of your future clean. Your story now rests in hands that treat it like a living thing. Your story breathes and grows without permission from your history. Your story lights the way for others who are still learning to leave. He will keep learning because shame is the beginning of wisdom. He will keep learning because truth is patient but never silent. He will keep learning because life always collects what it is owed. You keep rising, not against anyone, but toward who you were always meant to be. You keep building days that fit your soul. You keep welcoming the good that recognizes your name. He cannot borrow your peace, but he can learn from it. He cannot rewrite your chapters, but he can stop writing harm. He cannot follow your path, but he can find his own with integrity. You have become proof that healing is not a rumor. You have become proof that quiet power is still power. You have become proof that love of self can rescue the heart. He now sends his silence to the place where lies once lived. He now sends his pride to the place where stones were thrown. He now sends his first honest thought toward you, and it carries weight. You send a simple blessing into the air and keep going. You send gratitude to the hours that taught you how to stand. You send your future a smile because it already loves you back. He knows the story will be told without his edits. He knows the lesson will be remembered long after the noise is gone. He knows that what he broke did not end you, it introduced you. You are the chapter where the light stays on. You are the chapter where the door no longer creaks. You are the chapter where your name sounds like promise. He lowers his head and understands that he cannot step into your circle. He lowers his voice and understands that you will not shrink again. He lowers his guard and understands the only way forward is honesty. You raise your standards like banners in clear weather. You raise your voice only to bless the day that welcomed you. You raise your life into a shape that fits the truth you carry. He finally feels the weight of every careless step he took. He finally sees the distance you traveled without asking for a witness. He finally learns that shame is only useful if it becomes change. You finally feel the air that belongs to your lungs. You finally see yourself the way your spirit always did. You finally know that freedom is not a destination but a daily decision. He will remember you as the one who grew. He will remember you as the one who forgave yourself first. He will remember you as the one who kept walking until dawn. You will remember yourself as the one who refused to break. You will remember yourself as the one who turned pain into wisdom. You will remember yourself as the one who kept the promise to your own heart. And when the day closes and the world grows quiet, your peace will remain. It will sit beside you like a faithful friend who knows your story. It will carry you into tomorrow with a calm power that needs no permission. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. Continuing. He keeps replaying the moments that used to feel like victories. Those victories now taste like dust in his mouth. Memory has learned to tell the truth without permission. He notices how your laughter no longer flinches at the edges. He notices how the room seems wider when you walk in. He notices that the story breathes without his name. You stitched new habits into your mornings. You pour care into small places where neglect once lived. Your life answers softly, and the answer is still enough. He reaches for the old script and finds it blank. The lines that once controlled you no longer fit your mouth. Control has lost its audience and the stage is clean. You learn the science of boundaries and the art of grace. The science keeps you steady, the art keeps you kind. Together they build a home for your peace. He tries to offer explanations to the mirror. The mirror is unimpressed by clever sentences. It only understands deeds and the lack of them. You placed keys in a bowl labeled, "No more." You opened windows and named the breeze, "New." You let the past step outside and closed the door behind it. He remembers the day you stopped explaining yourself. Silence turned into dignity instead of permission. From there, the road straightened and the horizon arrived. Your phone no longer trembles under old alarms. Your mind does not sprint to solve problems you did not create. Your heart has retired from jobs it was never hired to do. He looks for shortcuts to redemption and finds a map of work. Every road goes through accountability before it reaches change. There are no skylifts over consequence. You decorate your calendar with bright, brave tasks. You fill your hours with effort that respects your future. Your days obey the light you chose. He stands in the aisle where apologies are sold. He discovers the price tag reads, "Consistent action." He discovers store credit is not accepted. You remember the night you slept without bargaining with memories. You woke up and the room did not lean. Balance returned as if it had always known the way. He drafts a message and deletes it 3 times. He wants mercy without admitting the weather he caused. Clouds do not move because someone is uncomfortable. You set a table for the life that treats you well. You invited work, wonder, and rest as regular guests. Together they keep the conversation honest. He sends a package filled with borrowed things. Tucked inside is a note that cannot find the right verb. The verb he needs is repair, and it is a manual job. You walk past old places and feel nothing pull. You meet familiar faces and feel nothing shrink. Every cell in you prefers the present. He hears how your friends pronounce your name with respect. He sees how your plans pronounce tomorrow with clarity. He understands that respect and clarity are non-transferable. You remove the hooks that used to snag your hope. You remove the traps that used to catch your time. You removed the lie that said you were responsible for other people's storms. He counts the invitations that no longer arrive. He counts the opportunities that pass him by with quiet judgment. Numbers begin to educate him more than speeches ever did. You water what is faithful and prune what is not. This is not cruelty, this is gardening. Your life grows in the direction of care. He tries to rename history, but history resists. Dates and deeds refuse to change their handwriting. Ink does not forgive erasers. You have learned to rest like it is a right. You have learned to speak like it is a responsibility. You have learned to choose like it is a blessing. He hears the sentence, "I'm not available for that." The sentence is short, clean, and final. It teaches more than 1,000 lectures. You carry yourself like a contract signed with courage. Terms are clear, penalties are real, renewal is by integrity only. Those who cannot agree do not get access. He remembers how easily he once borrowed your calm. That bank is closed and the vault is counted. Security is kindness with a backbone. You planned a small celebration for no reason at all. Joy arrived dressed in ordinary clothes. You decided that ordinary was a miracle in slow motion. He stands in the crossroads where regret meets repair. Regret is noisy, repair is quiet. One performs, the other builds. You keep your promises to yourself like sacred appointments. No one can reschedule them without your consent. Your calendar is a boundary wearing a watch. He reads his reflection until it stops editing him. He learns that sorrow without action is a drain. He learns that ownership is a door with a heavy key. You threw away the measuring tape that compared you to ghosts. You put down the scales that weighed you against storms. You chose a mirror that reflects your becoming. He stops asking why consequences feel heavy. He starts counting the moments he took lightly. Arithmetic becomes a language he finally understands. You begin projects that choose you back. You trust people whose hands match their words. Your community is a promise kept in multiple accents. He notices the way you do not rush to fill silence. He notices the way you do not defend the truth. Truth does not need a bodyguard. You collect small proofs of your new life daily. A laugh that arrives easily, a plan that fits, a night that rests. Evidence piles up like dawn. He cannot borrow your future with nostalgia. He cannot rent your attention with crisis. He cannot lease your kindness with old currencies. You give gratitude to the parts of you that waited. You give mercy to the parts of you that didn't know how. You give leadership to the parts of you that do. He opens his mouth and discovers that sorry is the doorbell. The house he seeks is called change. Doorbells are not furniture. You hold your head the way truth holds a candle. steady, unafraid, generous with the light. Shadows remain shadows, and that is not your fault. He writes a list titled, What I Owe. It starts with listening and continues with labor. There are no shortcuts between items. You release the fantasy of the apology that fixes the past. You keep the wisdom that prevents its return. That combination is the map you travel. He realizes you are not a chapter, you are an author. He realizes he is not a critic, he is a character. Characters do not control the plot. You feel your shoulders drop when you breathe. You feel your spine speak in the language of alignment. You feel your feet vote for the ground you chose. He discovers that community has a memory. It remembers the weight you carried and the way you carried it. It remembers the weight he placed and the way he placed it. You do not rehearse pain, you rehearse peace. You do not repeat lessons, you integrate them. Integration is the quiet brilliance of healed people. He cannot return to the season where he was believed over evidence. Evidence now walks around with your name on it. The season has ended and the calendar agrees. You replace survival skills with living skills. You replace endurance with enjoyment. You replace scarcity with stewardship. He hears the phrase, "Not my responsibility," and learns its music. He hears the phrase, "Not my environment," and learns its geography. He hears the phrase, "Not my story," and learns its mercy. You anchor your day in practices that respect your nerves. You speak to yourself like someone you plan to keep. You move like someone whose life is worth the planning. He tests the door and finds it locked from the inside. The sign reads, "Wholeness in progress." Visitors require credentials called consistency. You do not celebrate his shame, you celebrate your standards. You do not collect his tears, you collect your milestones. You do not archive his excuses, you archive your growth. He studies consequence the way students study light. He learns that light reveals and does not negotiate. He learns that revelation is both gift and measurement. You stand at the window of an evening that loves you. You watch the sky promise tomorrow without performance. You accept that promise without fear. He becomes a cautionary tale he wrote for himself. The moral is simple: harm returns with a mirror. He reads it slowly and underlines reality. You become a living glossary of healthy definitions. Love means agreement and action. Trust means proof and pattern. He realizes that your forgiveness was never a ticket back. It was a ticket for you to leave. You validated it and boarded. You watch your future arrive with practical shoes. It is not dramatic, it is dependable. Dependable is the most romantic thing you have ever met. He lowers his voice and the world does not bend. He lowers his gaze and the road does not move. He lowers his pride and the work finally begins. You close the book for the night and set it beside courage. You drink water and call it kindness. You sleep like someone who is done negotiating. He wakes to a morning that asks for evidence. He either brings it or he doesn't. The day adjusts accordingly. You rise with a gratitude that feels like clean air. You rise with a clarity that feels like good posture. You rise with a hope that feels like accurate math. He stands outside the circle where you now belong. The circle is not a clique, it is a covenant. Admission requires integrity, and the fee is recurring. You continue, not to prove anything, but because movement is natural. You continue, not to impress anyone, but because growth is home. You continue, because joy keeps its appointments. Archangel Michael says your peace is your witness and your path. Walk with it as if it were a trusted elder and a faithful friend. It will not mislead you, and it will not abandon you. He finally acknowledges the weather he made you carry. He finally admits the architecture of his choices. He finally sees that shame is only useful when it picks up tools. You finally inhabit the life that once felt distant. You finally trust the steadiness you built by hand. You finally understand that healing is not luck, it is leadership. He fades into a footnote that instructs rather than injures. You expand into a chapter that nourishes rather than explains. The book continues, and it belongs to you now.